All right.
Hello and welcome to the governance discussion at Dxdow. Today is December the 15th, and let's jump right in with a proposal roundup. So on mainnet, we have an amendment to governance refund parameters. So let's see if this loads, but this is actually a proposal to update the refund amounts on the governance refunds. So Dxdow every quarter deploys a smart contract which refunds users of Dxdow for some of the gas fees. And due to increasing gas fees we've been seeing over the whole year, there's an amendment to increase these slightly. So maybe I can pull it up here. Well, of course, that's not working. But the idea is to increase those. So the majority of them are currently at 90%. So they are moved up to 98 to still bear some cost to kind of have a defense mechanism against spam proposals. And the one proposal which is actually goes to 100 is the redeem proposal. So given that you can only redeem a proposal once it's successfully passed, there's not really an avenue for like a spam attack. So all of kind of like the things that could be spam to kind of drain funds from Dxdow do have a 2% fee. So there's no way to kind of make a profit or break even by submitting proposals or voting, etc., or staking, for example, as well. And all the other ones are fully refunded. So that's vote, stake, and proposal creation at 98% refund rate from 90 where they were originally. And then redeem, execute, and boost are refunded at 100%. Execute and boost were always refunded at 100%. And in this proposal, we're moving to refund redeems to 100% as well. I mean, not that you guys can very much see much here on the screen share, but there's also forum post up. So then moving on, we have actually Keenan is just moving his reps. So we actually have some IPFS issues. Maybe we'll talk about this later as well. But you can see here 1.13% of rep is being burnt from the following address, which is his current address. And then if you look at the following proposal, it's being minted to a new address. And I assume the difference is also includes a rep sync coming from XI worker proposals, right, Keenan?
Yeah, that's correct. Chris has linked a forum post I put up late yesterday that gives the context. Unfortunately, the IPFS hash didn't upload, I suppose.
Yeah.
But you can check the numbers and verify everything there if you would like to.
Sweet. It's a bit not the best situation to screen share when I can't actually show much. Then we have a further proposal. This is actually a refund from Augusto. So he's been incurring some costs on Arbitrum, etc., to deploy some contracts. Again, I'll listen to Chris and see what Limo says. But this is just a proposal for him to refund some costs he had for deployment. And I believe he made a forum post about that as well. And I think I actually have that bug where I just get a white screen. Oh, there we go.
I am a Limo, slowly becoming a Limo convert. I noticed, I think it actually has helped the IPFS issues. I submitted 2 proposals, and I was only I was get them better done through .limo.
You heard it here first. .limo is the future.
Yeah. We actually need to update it because it's applying the testing environment thing to .limo. I need to fix that.
Yeah, that's why I didn't even use it on the on a previous call. But
do we know what the IPFS issues? Is it downtime with Pinata, or we're not quite sure?
I don't know. I think so. There's the best solution is to use Web3 storage, but I think there's some issues with that because they use a different version of CIDs. I think there might be a bug somewhere that it's happening more frequently. Because, for example, John, you the other day said you couldn't upload to IPFS.
Yeah, the other night
you had to use Alchemy. I tried it like a few hours later, just when I woke up, and it was working fine. And so it's either I don't think PNS is down that often. So I'm wondering if there's maybe a bug that we're not catching somewhere. So I might look into it a bit more.
Yeah, it might be that.
Yeah, but at least we can identify what they are doing. So at least we have an idea of what the proposals are doing for now. And then we have another proposal. It's actually from Chris about approving the DXD vesting distribution. So I think everyone has been pinged about this in Keybase. We've been kind of, due to the fact that we didn't have vesting contracts ready to deploy, we have a bit of a backlog on the DXD vesting. So I think all of you had times to check that the DXD amount is correct. And this proposal is live both on mainnet and Dxdow and is boosting in roughly 10 hours. Then moving on, the last proposal, which Chris just miraculously was able to submit with a working IPFS hash. Not sure, Chris, if you wanted to briefly talk about this.
Yeah, this I think I actually also submitted it to be boosted, but the transaction has not gone through yet. But this is just the rep sync. So I'd done this previously in May, so there's actually the last 6 months there. So there's a couple different things, but also took it as an opportunity to do two other things. An ETH reimbursement. So I had launched the Swapper ETH pool on Swapper to be in time for the farming campaign, and that's not covered on a governor's gas refund. So just asking for that reimbursement there. And then the Lisbon stipend, they're just doing it through on chain here, just because when you do a mainnet proposal, you can request 3 different things. So you can see the 3 ones that are going on there. And then I had one other thing on mainnet. Just I was going to say, if you look at, there's also another rep boost proposal in here. And I was planning on boosting it, and I just wanted to talk about it briefly here before I did. So I think some may know Sasa. She was on the Governance 2.0 like working group. She is also with API 3. I've kind of crossed paths with her in New York a couple of times. I think she's and she had been on most of the Gov 2.0 working group. So she had got nominated for rep boost in December of last year, and then had not claimed it. And then I just saw this proposal a couple of weeks ago. She didn't say anything to me about it, just kind of submitted it. I think it makes sense, given that she did participate in the working group and is, I think, a valuable member. So yeah, I was going to boost this and see it forward there because she did, I guess, put forth the transaction fee without knowing that it would be accepted. And that's just kind of for the rep amount. So I was going to boost that later today.
I just put that in the chat. I know, or I don't know Sasha, but I am familiar with her from the Gov 2.0 stuff and API 3. So yeah, she's definitely been involved
and
to some degree. Yeah,
hoping to kind of get her actually more involved in Dxdow stuff. I mean, she's kind of had the API 3 DAO stuff, so she has some experience with that. But she's always been intrigued a little bit more with Dxdow from her experience with API 3 DAO. So hopefully this will be a way of bringing her more into the fold.
Yeah, that's cool. While we're waiting for Dave's white screen too, I just wanted to mention a little bit of a potential teaser on the related to the reimbursement for the fees. So like some of those actions, the ones that are getting 100% reimbursed are like, the boost, the execute, things that we want to happen all the time, basically, with proposals, and ideally would be automated, but because the way blockchain works, things always need to be called. Federico is actually working on something for Carrot, where we'll have the ability to add jobs that would do things, kind of like basically program things to happen in the future, incentivize things to happen in the future on blockchain. So that's something that is going to help with Carrot in terms of like automatically getting certain things done, like when an Oracle resolves and that needs to be updated in the Carrot system. But you could also imagine that kind of thing helping with governance, like with the boosting and executing and those types of proposals. So that could be really cool. Hopefully have that sometime next year.
Sweet. And I guess we'll transition over to Alchemy temporarily today for the Dxdow proposals. So we have the space inch proposal, which actually just passed. The Keenan sticker reimbursement, the wrong one, which is correct that it failed, as there was a correction for that. We have 2 buybacks currently live. We had some issues actually around the buyback yesterday, which we'll talk about in a couple of minutes. We have the Venki worker proposal live. I believe we'll have them in slightly different orders because I took them from Dxdow. We have the second payment for the audit live. Z worker proposal as well. I believe maybe it's one of the ones not showing correctly here, or actually here it is. And then again, we also have the same proposal currently on mainnet about approving the DXD vesting proposals. So if you're not voting on mainnet due to gas fees, make sure to at least vote here on the XI chain to signal intention. And then we also have actually a proposal from Augusto sending 1 Dxdow to his wallet, which I don't really know what it is about, but yeah, he's sending himself 1 Dxdow. So perhaps I'll follow up with him in a bit to see, maybe he's testing something here. I'm not quite sure what's going on. And then most excitingly, unlike other days, we actually have a proposal live on Arbitrum as well. I don't know if I'll be able to show it, but it's actually registering the wallet schemes version 1.1. So as most of you are aware, we actually already had the wallet schemes live on Dxdow, but we had an issue where we couldn't update the parameters. Control-Shift-R, Ross says.
You've broken something. It works fine on mine.
This is my daily experience with DXvote, by the way. I'm happy at least you see it live, so I'm not making stuff up. You know?
But, I have it on my screen right now. I just loaded it.
Yeah, I think Control-Shift-R normally helps. I normally don't get the white screen to persist.
So you want to open up console and do some live debugging? Yeah, there you go.
What? It's gone again.
Oh.
It was not the greatest idea to follow Chris's approach and share the screen. But yeah, Ross, I don't know if you wanted to add anything to the wallet schemes. I believe they're being just tested on Arbitrum, right, before we move to Dxdow?
Yeah, so we talked about this the other day. We're just we are registering the new ones, and then we'll test them on Arbitrum, and then once that's complete, we will unregister the old ones. We're just kind of going for an incremental approach to this. And yeah, we'll likely get the wheels together to get this through at some point and sometime next week. Yeah.
Awesome. And then one additional agenda item we actually had was just a brief overview of something Chris noted yesterday, which was actually due to a wallet scheme update on Dxdow. We were actually briefly unable to make multi-calls through the generic multi-call scheme. So if you do load Dxdow up, you'll see there are actually a couple of buybacks, number 93. I believe it took us 4 goals to get it working. And I guess the best, Ross, if you want to give a quick overview, because I'm also not completely sure what happened, but it's fixed. That's the good news.
Yeah. So I'm not super knowledgeable about exactly why it happened. It was to do with the encoding that we need to send to the multi-call. The issue was due to some changes that were done to support the new wallet schemes. And I think it was applying stuff that we expected it to the wallet scheme, or sorry, it wasn't applying the encoding because we don't need it in the wallet schemes. But yeah, we still need it in the old.
The front end wasn't recognizing the multi-call scheme appropriate, right?
Yeah, essentially.
Right? Somehow that had gotten broken on DXvote.
Yeah. So the real issue behind this, because we should have caught this in QA, it was merged just before we did a release. And so, yeah, realistically, the fix to this, beyond just not making the issue again, is having a bit more time, maybe a harder rule of at least 1 day in the develop QA environment before we go to release. And so just keeping things a bit more separate before we release them would probably avoid this in future.
Awesome. And yeah, I guess while you're there, Ross, I guess maybe you can also give an overview. Like, do we know what's happening with the IPFS stuff, or like, is it?
Not entirely. I think Yeah, so this should be in prod by now, but we're actually like checking multiple IPFS gateways, and so that's not the issue. The issue. Do you know? Did you make this in DXvote, by the way? This one?
Yeah, Dxvote.
Okay. Yeah, it's something to do with the uploading process. I need to look into it a bit.
Yeah,
there's likely a bug somewhere because I don't think it's Pinata is only to blame.
Yeah, the one done on Alchemy went through correctly. So
right, okay.
Yeah, and we do have Alchemy to fall back on. Obviously, we're trying to get to a point where DXvote is our go-to and robust, but for now, I don't think there's any shame in falling back on Alchemy while we're.
Yeah, it is nice to have
things
that. Yeah, obviously that's the goal, but best plans of mice and men.
And just as someone who's gotten three proposals in the last day uploaded through IPFS, I think that the trick is you really do have to check before submitting. And I wouldn't submit a proposal unless you can see that the IPFS has been uploaded. And I don't know why certain times it's not uploading, but it seems to me like just the like kind of inconsistent. All like maybe takes 4 or 5 times over an hour, and like the 4th or 5th time, like it'll upload the IPFS, and then that's what I'll submit the proposal. But I think if you're trying to submit a proposal, and I think you get that prompt actually once you upload to IPFS, it says check before submitting proposal. If you don't see that that's uploaded to IPFS, I would not submit the proposal and either try again or use Alchemy.
Right. Okay. I'm going to take a look at this afternoon or this evening and see if I can find the issue. Yeah, it's good so it should be replicatable, right? If you try a few times.
Right. I think so.
Okay. Cool.
And of course, I think I'm not sure if .limo is it or not, but I was like going back and forth between those and also even develop. So sometimes it's
it shouldn't be related, but I'll take a look tonight.
.limo is the future Z, whether you like the name or not. And that's pretty much all we had on the complete agenda. Then we have a couple of other things which are not live yet on chain. So I'm sure most of you have seen the Dxdow pay structure update. Not sure, Melanie, if you wanted to say something about it. I believe it's up on the forum and awaiting feedback from the community before it goes on chain, right?
Yeah, we're still waiting for additional feedback from the community before it goes on chain. There are some additions to the proposal. Dave made a comment in regards to the floor price, and yeah, like I said, we're still waiting for any additional comments and suggestions if the community has it, but hopefully, ideally we'd like to put on chain in the upcoming days.
Wonderful. And then we have the DX voice multisig is actually transitioning from a regular multisig to a multi-chain multisig. So that'll mean it'll have the same addresses on each network it deploys on, which is cool. And also Omega, or however you pronounced it, has also a proposal up for an audit. Not sure if you wanted to say anything about that, John, but that's...
Yeah, thanks, Dave. I would like to call attention to this forum post because, well, I think we all know that auditing is important, but it is a significant amount of money. It's $45,000 for the audit, but these guys, I think, are actually very good and very competitive rates given where the market is now. So definitely highly recommend that this go through. And yeah, I would like to call attention to it here because I would also like to move to on-chain proposal relatively soon as well. So happy to answer any questions about this now if anybody does about the audit or why we need it. It's for the governance system. I mentioned in the post that DAOstack had done audits on their code. We built the wallet schemes, had an audit on those, but it was kind of scoped to just the wallet schemes. And so one of the differences here is that they're going to be auditing the wallet schemes plus some of the other DAOstack stuff that we're still using, like the controller and the avatar. They're also going to be auditing the DXD vesting sorry, not vesting, the DXD voting machine there that allows DXD staking. And yeah, and just in general, I think there's been a couple of changes, like with the bug that we had, that we discovered on Dxdow with not being able to update the params. And in general, it would be good to just have a second audit, since this is critical infrastructure, and we hope to someday migrate mainnet to this stuff as well, right? So that then we'd be talking really significant amounts of funds. So 45K is a lot, but I think very well worth it on these types of contracts.
Yep. Only thing I would say is I believe it's in USDC, right? And we have 45,000 USDC currently in the treasury. And I believe the Space Inch proposal is also USDC. But I believe, and I'm not sure about this, we might be able to trade, as long as it's ERC20 to ERC20, we might be able to do a trade directly from the treasury through either Curve or Cow Swap, Cow Exchange, Cow Swap, whatever it's called.
Yeah, I guess I think it makes sense to presume, I guess, John, where the proposal would be. And so I think it would look like there would be 3 different payments. And the first one presumably would be now. That's the one you're kind of talking about, which would be 15,000. So I think there would be enough to do that through Dxdow, but the second and third payments would not, unless we had gotten additional USDC either through the trade that Dave is talking about or transferring. So, I mean, they could also just do the proposal from mainnet. That's a little bit more expensive, but just, yeah.
Yeah, sure mainnet. I think they would be happy for, I mean, because I'm helping to like facilitate these proposals. And so it's just a matter of, you know, basically the DAO is then footing a little bit more of the cost to move a proposal through mainnet. I think ultimately they want USDC on mainnet because I think that's their off ramps, right? So what I had done in the last audit they did was and because they had wanted to get on mainnet, but I was like, well, it's a little bit cheaper overhead wise if we do it on Dxdow. So I was just tacking on a couple of $100 to cover their gas costs. And I think it's like effectively like a little bit cheaper, right? From a proposal perspective to do the proposal process on Dxdow, and then they can just move the funds over. But these are a little bit bigger payments too. So if whatever is easier, I can do it on mainnet or whatever. I think either would work.
Yeah, I think it would be interesting though anyway to see if we can do a swap directly from the treasury, and we don't have the slippage issue, right? Because it's stable to stable. So
yeah, and if you use CowSwap, I think you can set the slippage. So that would definitely be interesting, I think, regardless, to see if we can do that.
Yeah.
But just to get back, I think this is like a great thing we should be doing in terms of auditing, specifically the governance stuff, because we are, you know, using that so much, and I don't think there's probably not like a better team to be able to do that with than this group, because they already have the familiarity with the DAO stack stuff. So I think this is important, and yeah, excited to see it go through, and happy that we're engaging with it's Team Omega, I guess. That's the whole name, not just Omega.
I thought it was Omega Team, and now in this proposal is Team Omega. So maybe I had that wrong, or they changed it. But it's a good point too. I had not mentioned in the post that these guys are some of them former DAO stack, and so have some familiarity already with this stuff, and puts them in a good position to know how to audit it.
The rumor is that they're good.
Yeah, that is the rumor. It's more than rumor at this point, actually. Their first report for the staking contracts looks very solid. And yeah, I think we're lucky to have them. And I've been mentioning this, I just haven't got to yet. I will be making another post just kind of trying to project and estimate what the auditing costs will be next year. And one of the big things there will be like getting some time from Sigma Prime, which is like one of the name brand auditors that command even higher fees. Be prepared.
Like when I met Yele, like one of the guys there, when I met him in Lisbon, I tried to convince him to sort of help like with the DXvote construction, like just like the architecture, and like, I don't know, help with the security like from the start. Didn't really work out, but yeah, at least they're like auditing us for stuff.
Yeah, this will, in a way achieve it, right? They're going to be looking at it, and we still have a lot of work to do with Gov 2.0. So hopefully they'll be around to audit that as well.
Just sharing some more market chatter. There has been an interesting, like, kind of bidding war for auditing Compound between the biggest firms. Pretty, like, a huge contract. I think it's like $4 million or something. But just kind of shows you that this is a big space that's going to grow more.
Yeah, that one is also related to the fact that Compound were, responsible for the security of Cream, and it got hacked. So, they were commissioned and paid a lot of money, like every month, and people knew from the beginning that it was about to happen, and they were kind of like, looking at it, looking back on it, it seems like they've been taking the money and just doing nothing, because people were flagging, raising red flags.
Do you guys have the TLDR on why this is failing? And it's interesting to see Polychain voting against Leshner.
I think it was someone, like one of the firms specifically, like wanted to bid, like that did not. Like, I think this is from which one? Open Zeppelin. Yeah, and I can't remember which one, like, objected to this because they wanted to do like a counter offer. They wanted to have like a more like proper bidding process as opposed to just like giving it to Open Zeppelin. And so I think that's why you see the Polychain one and someone else who I think are more like specifically wanting to. It was consensus due diligence. I can't remember.
Yeah,
I think there will be another proposal or something. There's another one actually up right now. It's going to start voting in 3 hours. Trail of Bits. That's what it was.
Oh, yeah.
I think Trail of Bits is actually winning it. Or this proposal is about to go up. Yeah.
Maybe someday we'll be able to have a bidding process for our audits. Right now, I'm just glad to have anybody on.
$4 million in comp over the next year for these services to Trail of Bits.
It's pretty crazy.
Awesome. Well, that's pretty much everything on the governance discussion, but do feel free to stick around and chat about some stuff, or feel free to go back to work, or if anyone has anything to say, feel free to talk.
It might be fun to talk a little bit about what people are thinking for conferences. We don't have to be on the recording for that, but if people are planning for which conferences to attend.